Just jumping in here, see what's going on. Just a little Saturday night chatting. I've got a couple things we can talk about today. First thing being, welcome back, fishing friends, to the worldwide headquarters of the Pinhook Fishing Club. All right, so I got out this morning to do a little bit of fishing. It was windy, crummy, so that didn't last. Then didn't have much time because I had other stuff going on. But tomorrow I'm hopefully going to get out there and do some fishing. But a couple things. I started to think about these lures that I had found when I was fishing. And the thing about it is, was it like a weird echo? Anyway, it's the PC. Okay, anyway. So this is that Cotton Cordell pencil popper, I think is what it was. This thing is heavy. I'm going to try to throw this. But I was thinking about today all the different lures that I have found within the last, I don't know, 6 months, I'd say. 4 months, 3 months. So this is definitely one of them. This is in that wad of stuff that I had from the other day. So touched it up a little bit. Put new hooks on it. So there's that one. This one I found this morning, and it's in, let's see, H2O, if you can see that. Put hooks on it. All I had left was this little dinky one, so that works fine for the back end. So these, I mean, it looks all right. This one will swim. I don't know if I'm going to keep those or if I'm going to give them away or what the deal is. This one I found, about 2 months ago. It's got some decent hooks on it that I put on there, but it's banged up a little bit, scratched up. This one's one of these Excaliburs, I think is what that little logo is. Get that, put that one over there. This little dude is the one I found when I went over out to Louisiana on that trip to Bacon's. And this one, this is the one that was all caught up when it's at that Caddo State Park. And I got tangled up and I was like, what? Somebody's got a jug line out here? And it wasn't, it was just somebody's fishing line. And this is on the end of it. Set that way over there. This one was that one that I glued back together, that the rear end was busted off, the bill was gone. So I glued eyes on it and I repainted it. So you can't see it, but on the edges there's like little gray little slashes. I put on a little slash for the gill. So I did just kind of a weird pattern. So I never paint any lures really. So this one was just like an experiment. Yeah, it's not too bad. I did kind of a black and green, something you don't see it every day. To us, it isn't going to be a big deal. You know, the color, it's mainly what they see down there, the fish. So this one, for sure, I'm going to test to swim to see if there's no bills. So what I did was I sanded that down really good. And I just put made a mouth on it. Because when they're underwater, that's all they're going to see. So maybe tomorrow if I get out fishing, I'm going to throw this one just to test it out. So it may be that something like that I give away or sell it on eBay. And the other one was this one that had that busted rear end. So I glued it back on there. I mean, like super duper titanium type glue, and had to file it down. Excuse me, this one I put eyes on there. So this one I did like a dark top, kind of a gray mid, and then on the bottom, orange, and then some sparkles, which you'll see there. And the sparkles are mainly just for the fish. I had to do something because this thing was just wrecked. So this one I think pretty sure will swim. There were some cracks in here. This is that one that had all those cracks. I think I sealed them up. So hopefully it'll swim. And then of course I put the eyes on there like I was saying. But so I'm going to try to swim this one as well. But other than that, you know, that's all we got. I mean, um, give it a try and, you know, and see what I can come up with. And a couple things that I used when I was looking at that. Hey, what's up, Gnarly 20? Thanks for dropping in. This is one of these kits. I showed you this before. It's a little split ring kit. So if you need to Freaks Lures, get one of these. I need to order some more trebles. It's a little split ring pliers right there. So you're going to drop in some new split rings if the ones are shot. That one that I found today, or this morning, this one he didn't have any split rings, so I had to put them on there, even on the nose. And this one, I had to clean it up, but the little dark spots on there, I can't get them out. I don't know what that is, but I tried to wash it. So I got a bunch of those lures I need to get rid of. And then, of course, this is all my terminal tackle, but I don't have any more trebles, really. Anyway, so let me get these out of the way. Actually, let me put them over here. Too much stuff, guys. Too much stuff. Sheesh. So that's a plan. The other thing is, I got something in the mail that was pretty cool. So I put in an order for some stuff from Barlow's. And you got to have like, I think it's 10 or 15 bucks before they ship anything. Well, I picked up these little 1/16 ounce. I don't know, this camera didn't focus right. Little jig heads, got eyes on them. And we're going to, hadn't tied one, we're going to tie one of these. So, that's what's been going on. What about you guys? What have you been working on? Anything interesting? Catching any fish? Man, let me know. I've been watching tons of videos of buddies up north that have been doing some ice fishing. And it seems like they're having a good time up there. So had my uncle and a couple of cousins went out west and did some coyote hunting. I need to get a hold of them and see if they got anything. What, yeah, I'm sure they did, but what it was they got. And then up north, a couple other buddies were fishing up in Wisconsin, doing the ice fishing. And then over in New England, I guess there's some spots there with the water. They can get in there, and so they've been out bank fishing. Bank grinding, as I call it. But anyway, so that's what's been going on with them. But I've been trying to follow these other channels because, in the wintertime when there's not much going on, it's like not much content, it's good to kind of surf around, check out other channels and see what's going on. So that usually, if I'm not watching sports, I'm watching stuff on YouTube, meaning on TV. Most of the stuff I'm watching is on YouTube. Aren't really TV series anymore. I mean, I guess Reacher's pretty good. I've watched that a bunch, but here and there, some different things. But for the most part, I'm watching YouTube. Oh, I gotta get this. I'm telling you guys, Harbor Freight. Keep an eye on because these little ammo cans, go on sale. These are like $3.99 or something. So I grab those. What am I looking for? This and maybe this and this. So I'm going to tie a few on this red one here that I got from Barlow's. But anyway, so that's what I've been doing, just kind of seeing who's catching what. Angler X is a guy out of Wisconsin, La Crosse, that does pretty good. So with fishing, I enjoy watching that. There's, of course, Dave Canterbury, the bushcraft dude. All my bushcraft buddies are always telling me to watch his stuff, and I have been for a lot of years. That's where I got that one knife I got. Here we go. That's where I got that one knife I had, that Pathfinder Kephart blade. Sorry, I'm trying to trim this. But yeah, I think a lot of people are looking for stuff to watch this winter if they're kind of penned up. Man, that's going to look good right there. So I kind of missed, I was up in Iowa in October. I wish I could get back up there like in the dead of winter. And it just, doesn't work out because of my job. But I've been up there for a couple Christmases, but it'd be cool just to kind of scope it out and see. I'd be looking for open water, which the only way you're going to find that is possibly on a river. But I think most of them are frozen over. Okay, we're going to put a little green on the top there. Just change it up just a little bit. Yeah, in that area where my grandparents' farm is, such a beautiful spot up there. It can get, the snow can get pretty thick there. I remember stories from back in the day of my granddad always having to pull somebody out of the ditch. My uncle's having to pull somebody out of the ditch. Especially one crazy neighbor down there that just couldn't. I don't know what his deal was. I don't know how many tractors, I think his car a couple times went into the ditch. They were having to pull him out. And I also think I heard a story that on accident he cultivated the highway trying to get across the road to get to a field. And he had the cultivator down. That's back in the day, I guess, when people actually cultivated. Man, I would have paid money to see that. Anyway, but yeah, and then see ice fishing is pretty good up there too, in that area where the family farm is. There's a couple spots near there where, well, you've seen me do some fishing videos in some spots. Come on, let's get this hackle in there. I call it the junk pond, where I've caught some good fish in there. Well, they do some nice fishing there, and we've tested some lures before. Come on. I think this guy's gonna be all right. Come on. There we go. Nope. That's it. That's the problem with this 20. It's just a little thick. But over the Christmas break when I was at Cabela's, this is all they had. Anyway, so my plan for this winter is to get as many of these as tied as I can, because I've got some plans for them for this summer. Of course, I'm going to use them, give some away, and I may be working on a plan to sell a few, which normally I wouldn't because I do such a crummy job making these. But I keep getting people that are interested wanting to. I guess I don't care. They don't care how crummy they are. I guess the whole point is if the fish will bite on them, not whether they're going to win a beauty contest, right? Man, that one looks good. With that red eye right there, got to trim just a little. Yep. That one's going to work out pretty good. Let me hang him over here. Anyway, so that's the deal with what I've been doing. Just trying to get some of these made. And then I was thinking about planning a couple of trips up here for spring break. Maybe going down to the coast. My uncle's down there, down in Corpus Christi. You think being in Texas that it's a close drive? It's pretty much like almost driving to Kansas City for me. So it's a several hour trip, but every time I go down there, I always have a lot of fun down there with fishing. There's some great fish, great places to eat. And I think now he's got all the fishing scoped out. If you've never been down to Corpus Christi, you got to get down there. The one thing is the college is right on the ocean there. You come out of the administration building and you can walk right down. There's like some steps to go down in the oceans there. Such a cool place. All right, so we're going to do another one with, what am I looking for here? This. So we've got the craft fur. So we've got the black head with the red eye there. And so I'm not trying to match up any colors. I'm just trying to get some ones that I know are going to work for the spots we're going to be fishing this summer and this spring. So speaking of trips, here pretty soon I'm going to be going up to Tishomingo, Oklahoma for crappie season. I got a couple of spots there. The white bass hit pretty well too. Man, that craft fur is looking rough. Oh, you know what it is? Because we had some big rain yesterday and today. The humidity has got this all kinked up. Yep, that's exactly what's going on here. I got to even figure out when my spring break is. I was thinking one of these spring breaks to head up to Iowa and do some fishing up there. But like I was saying, it's either going to be, I don't know, maybe middle of March. The ice is broken up. I'd have to do some recon on that. If not, head over to the Mississippi. I got a spot there a great spot where I fish. And if there's open water there, there's going to be fish. In March, you're going to start ramping up. Check this one out. This one looks pretty good. Just a little bit. Just a little bit poofed up there. That Craftford didn't like this humidity. What do you guys think? Should I go out? Should I head up to Iowa for spring break or go to the coast? I'm thinking 100% it's going to be go to the coast. If not, then up to Oklahoma and maybe even over to Arkansas, do some fishing. So a lot of things going on. I got to try to get sorted out. I guess I need to do that, huh? But that's me usually, is waiting to the last minute to figure out what I'm going to do trip-wise. And then I'm going to be, I know I've got a trip up in Wisconsin, fishing with a buddy of mine this summer on some lakes up near Minocqua. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I've got so many baits and things to test out this summer, guys. All these different crankbaits, jerk baits, these jackhammers, just a lot of new stuff that I'm going to test on the river, on some of the deeper lakes, and some of my normal fishing spots. Usually I'm always throwing a tube around. Well, I'm going to change that up just a little bit this year. Add a couple things to the repertoire. There we go. Oh yeah, the other thing is, guys, I mentioned this the other day. I signed up for fantasy fishing at the Bassmaster site. So jump in there, get a team going, get to pick your different sections or divisions. So I jumped into one of the public groups. I think I did one in Labina Lures and some other group had one that I jumped into. What are we doing? Another green? Never done it before, so we're going to see how it all goes. Because all that starts here pretty quick, I think. There's some fishing leagues have already gotten rolling. Then a buddy of mine was telling me that there's an online fishing league, several of them, and I guess it's like a live catch posting or whatever through an app. Man, that'd be a lot of fun. I'd be willing to check that out. That'd be kind of cool. Since I'm a bank grinder, I'd have to find where it'd be bank fishing friendly. I know the online catfishing is bank oriented. I'm not big into catfishing. I mean, I'll catch them, but once in a while, usually it's when I'm fishing with my brother that we'll target some catfish. And we've caught some massive catfish, especially around here in some of these little these little neighborhood homeowners association ponds. These things get just beastly huge. And the thing is, it's so easy to catch them. The typical stuff, people are using chicken or whatever, but really, the one that has worked the best is just Bar S hot dogs. They're out of Oklahoma. And something about them, they're just... Sorry, guys, I got to trim this. Something about those Bar S hot dogs, those catfish just annihilate them. Anyway, so that's pretty much what's going on. So, trying to get some stuff planned. I wanted to go to Oklahoma this weekend up to a lake that I go fishing where I really learned how to get the drop shot sorted out when I came back from Iowa. So I was listening to the Smallmouth Crush podcast, and every single one of these dudes is like drop shot, drop shot, drop shot. Well, the thing with the drop shot is you got to be up high enough to get that angle you want. So I went up there and tested it up at my favorite lake up there, and I did pretty good. So I think I made a video of that. But I hadn't been back there since. It's a decent drive for me from here. A couple hours. Really, the thing is, what I need to do is just spend the night. The town up there, or camp there. Oh yeah, my bushcraft buddies would love that if I made a camping video. They'd pay money to see that. Hey, but I did one this past summer, and you know what? I did it about a week and a half after I had that horrible pneumonia when I was up in Iowa this summer. I was like, I'm gonna get out there, I'm gonna do it, pneumonia or not. And it was pretty good. I had a pretty good time. Anyway, so I was gonna get up there. Really, I could just stay in a hotel that's... Ardmore's not far from there. A couple other towns. So we'll see. I got a good spot up in that other little spot, Tishomingo, the wildlife refuge. It's kind of on the north end of Lake Texoma and the Red River. It is a great crappie spot. February, not quite. I've tried to fish there in February and it's been rough. Now with the water coming up, maybe it'll be better. But you know, I noticed that they're gonna, the next 5 days, get this, in that wildlife refuge, they're gonna do aerial invasive species clean out. So what does that mean? That means they're gonna go in there with helicopters and drive out and shoot these feral hogs. I guess they're just out of control in there. I've heard them before when I've been up there fishing. So this is a time they're going to do it. I don't know. Sometimes I'll open it up where people can hunt them. But I think there's so many now that they're just going to have to do it by chopper. Because I remember last year, I went up there to fish and the thing was going to be closed the next weekend. I was like, dang, man, next weekend the crappie could be biting. So, and then I noticed on their Facebook page, people were all posting, hey, hire us. Can we go in there? We'll do it for free and all kinds of stuff. Can we keep the meat? What are you going to do with the meat? So I don't know what the plan is. You know, I'm sure they got something where they're going to flush the hogs out, and then they got, I guess, from the air, shoot them, or they have direct into where people are on the ground. There we go. Just a little bit right there. Get that up just too much on the collar there. Still a lot to learn with this, guys. I'm still learning. That's why one of my buddies is wanting to buy these. I'm like, man, are you sure? These things are rough looking. He's like, I don't care what they look like. I just know they're going to catch fish. Yeah, if you don't know anything about crappie, they don't come up and just hammer a bait like bass and pike and walleye do. Crappie are always looking up when they're feeding, and to them it's more of a slurp. They come up and just choop, and then they'll spit it right back out if it's something they don't want. I mean, it is quick. So that's how come you don't feel the bite a lot of times with them. Man, this one came out rough. Oof. Trim it just a little bit. Anyway, so they're, golly, yeah, this one's, it's how it goes. You do some really great, you do some terribly. Anyway, so the crappie, they're always looking up like that. And they're more just to inhale, and then if they don't want it, they'll spit it right back out. But I'm excited to get up there and up in Oklahoma, and I can catch them here too at the one little buffalo hole. I think I'm gonna go there tomorrow, but I'm not sure how it's gonna go. There's some big bass in there. I'm going to test out some of these. I got a couple other lures I want to throw. And those ones that I just fixed, if you got in here late, you missed the show and tell, you have to go back and watch it. Some of the lures I painted, the ones that I resurrected. It's good stuff. All right. What do we got going on here? So I've been using a lot of the hackle. So now I'm going to get some actual plumage going. There we go. Yep, that's going to work just fine. Yeah, there was another spot I was going to go try and camp and do some fishing. At one of my spots here in Texas, but actually two places. The only thing with that is you wouldn't think it now, but man, these parks here are just crammed, even in the wintertime, with campers. So I don't know. I guess it shouldn't make a difference if I want to camp there if it's packed with people. The thing is, I know exactly in the two spots which little camping areas to reserve. And every time I get on there to check, they're already reserved for like the next 2-3 weekends, and I'm like, man, what is going on here? I guess that's like a big trend now. People are getting into that, like since COVID, all this camping, and people have just continued doing it anyway. But so lots of lures to test. This one came out pretty good. The other thing is I'm hoping with I got a cousin that has land in northern Missouri, and I want to be able to camp there or hang out there, and then go to Lake Rathbun again, which is in Iowa, just north of there. We had so much fun doing that last time. We didn't catch too much, but it was fun. When we went there, it was like packed, these huge party yachts, kind of like you see down here. I think that's where Tom and Roseanne had a place on that lake, and I don't know, Tom, one of them still probably owns that, unless they sold it, but I want to get back just so we can try to whack a few more walleye and maybe get a nice pike. That was a lot of fun, that trip. Then we went to another little place near Ottumwa, and I think that we had the DNR got called on us. But we didn't realize until we were out of the water leaving, because the dude drove up and parked up on the hill with binoculars looking out in the water. I know he was looking for us. Oh, it was great because it's a no wake lake. You have to like go, you have to putt around the lake. And we'd never been there before. So we were in my cousin's boat and we were just moving from place to place to fish. And I think it was a dude that was in he was like a little kayak, or it was a little John boat with a trolling motor. And I get the feeling it was him. We all kind of thought that he was a dude that uh, called the DNR. But anyway, we just pulled the boat out, and I saw the dude. He because we were down the boat ramp, and there's a decent hill, so he couldn't see us. But I was walking up to where my other cousin had parked his car, and I saw him, the DNR guy, pull in his truck, and he kind of drove by me, and he went up to the top of the hill, which was kind of another little parking area up there. And I was like, what is this dude doing? He must, patrol. And then I see him in his truck pull out the binoculars, like scoping the lake out. And I was like, oh, I bet you somebody called and complained about it. So we weren't doing anything weird or illegal. We were just in some spots going too fast. I guess I don't know if that's illegal. It was just against the lake's rules. I don't know. Is it a law when they have that on a lake? Or is it just the rules? Anyway, so we left the park and Mr. DNR was still sitting up there, bird dogging the lake. Oh yeah, speaking of which, the other day, I think I told you guys this when I was fishing, it was last weekend. I had the DNR dude from Oklahoma. He was a nice guy. I think his name was Officer Jones. He was pretty cool. He gave me some heads up on some good places to fish, but man, they're so far away that I don't know if it would ever work out for me. But and I figured it all out. See, I was on the Texas side, scoping stuff out. And it's places you've seen me fish. One's along the river. So I was cruising up along there, and I was like, well, today I think I'm going to go to I was checking water levels. And I said, today's the day I'm going to go to the Oklahoma side because I have a year-long Oklahoma fishing license. So he was on the Oklahoma side of the river, the famous Red River, as you guys know, and he saw me, I guess, get out and check water levels. So then I drove over to the Oklahoma side, and I guess he was tracking me as I crossed over. There's like a road that runs along the dam there and all that hydro plant and all that stuff. And so he saw me pull in, and I went all the way to the back where I knew I was going to fish. I could walk down that embankment, and that's where I did a live stream where I didn't catch anything there. Oh, but anyway, and I think I talked about it, how the DNR dude showed up. So of course he's like, oh man, this dude didn't fish. He left the Texas side. He's coming over here. I better make sure he's got a license. You know how it always goes. That was not too bad. Remember, they look kind of shaggy like this, but once you get them in the water and they start doing their fluffing, they do pretty good. Anyway, so, as soon as I got out of the truck and started heading down the hill, he said, "What's up, boss?" And I was like, huh? I turned around and I was like, what? I didn't even hear him pull up. And I was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, are you going to do some fishing? I said, yep, I'm just heading down there right now. He said, were you over on the other side checking over by the gate in the park? And I was thinking, gate? What gate? There's no gate over there. And I was like, well, I don't know what gate, but I was over there checking water levels. And he said, yeah, I saw you over there. And then I saw you heading this way. And I was like, do you need to see my fishing license? He's like, oh, yeah, please. Anyway, and so he was real nice. But, they're doing their job. Kind of like when in Iowa, they see Texas plates every time the DNR is like, come sniffing around. But that's good. They need to be out there checking stuff. It just gets, a little old. But I think I've talked to enough of them now that they'll know it's me in the truck and they won't. Because I know that happened this year. This one dude came down to our favorite fishing hole where the little marshy area is, where that spillway is. And he came down there and he's like, oh, I remember you guys. I was like, yep, we got our stuff. He said, well, what about these people from Illinois? And I was like, Illinois? Who the heck is from Illinois around? And then I was like, oh, my older brother, they had their vehicle there and they were fishing with us. And I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. And so, yes, they had their fishing licenses. And so we talked to him for a little bit, but he was real chilled. The funny thing is, when that dude up in Oklahoma was talking to me, I was telling him about, school and, it's good to get out and do some fishing and all of a sudden 2 vehicles just pull up, zoom, zoom. One was just a rickety pickup truck. The other one was like a nice SUV, and they weren't out of their vehicles. They just pulled up there, and he's like, oh man, looks like I'm going to be busy. And I was thinking, what on earth would they want to, what would be going on? What they want to talk to him for? They see somebody poaching or what the deal is. Usually what it is somebody's dumping trash somewhere and they get a vehicle ID. But he was going to be busy that day. So I went down to my spot, man. It was cold down there. The wind was howling. I did the live from down there. And the water was deep. There was just an awesome drop off, like a pool there. And nothing. I couldn't get anything. Isn't that typical? You do a live thing and you're like, oh, we're going to catch some fish, and then nothing. But the thing with Facebook is you get those YouTube, you get those recommendations. Go live. Those tips, you need to go live more, post more shorts. I hate those shorts. I hate reels, any of that TikTok-y type stuff. It's for that short attention span people. I like to watch a video, enjoy it, see what else is going on in the background. There's just so much stuff to absorb. This little 2-minute, or not even 2-minute, like 20-second. Dang, I got the collar on here. It's just too much up there. There we go. Oh, well. Anyway, these little quick 2-minute not 2 what I keep saying 2 minutes, these 20-second, 30-second clips. I'm just like, whatever. I'm not messing around with that. But once in a while, I'll put the reels or I'll put a clip. So I don't really goof around much with Instagram, but I do have one for the Pinhook Fishing Club. Once in a while, I'll put stuff on there. Mainly it's so I can follow these hammers, these other sticks, meaning guys that are around the country that are, fishing around. So I follow some bushcraft people too. So like Dave Canterbury, he's always got good stuff, man. He's an OG, and he was just camping because he's based out of Ohio. It was like super cold there. And he's like in this bivvy, and he's like in his 60s, and man, he's just like he's in his 20s, bushwhacking around out there, getting into these spots. Oh, that one's gonna look good. Anyway, well, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me babbling uncontrollably about who knows what. But that's the kind of thing, is that YouTube's always like, go live. The more you go live, more people will jump in there. So that's the plan, is to do some of these live streams here and there. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I don't mind doing it too much. The thing is, I'm going to try to do something this summer at my spots in Iowa. Man, that's going to be funny. This summer I may do a, what's up, bull market. Yeah, good stuff. Thank you. Just trying to trim this. So this summer I'm going to try to, I've already went back into a couple of areas. I did a video on this expedition into this place called Dilly's Pond or whatever. But I'm going to try to do an expedition to a place where I think there's a still. Yeah, an old still, a moonshine still. Oops, I think I banged the camera there. So, because, every part of the country had its spot where alcohol, well, these people kept doing it. And I think the neighborhood there, where the family farm is up there, the lady, she was still brewing the stuff and would just always had some here and there for the neighbors, and they never said anything to rat her out. Heck, get it from a neighbor for super cheap than having to get it from a liquor store, and you're probably paying more. Sometimes she would just give it to people. Heck yeah. So I'm going to maybe possibly try to do an expedition to find that. Well, Marcus says there's some brackish water back in there. What is it? What? Higher proof shine? Really? Brackish water, really? So I got to try to, maybe figure out where that is. Couple good spots here and there I'm going to go scope out. But anyway, I want to do some live stuff from my spots up there. There's some good stories from that area that people have forgotten about. The other thing, there's like the poor farm that's near there. I want to do a video on that, where people still go there that need help with I don't think they actually work the land. It may be that they still do, but there's some houses there where people still live. All right, guys, we made it through all the red-eyed ones. I got a couple of these black ones. Anyway, the poor farm. So there's still. Uh, I was surprised that there were people living on the. There was two properties there, and they don't. They still have land, but I don't think they work it. But there's a museum there, and it was a creepy old building. Multi. It looked to me, it was like in the movie Halloween, like one of those hospitals, 2-story. So I may go by there and see if those people let me do a video in there. That place was just creepy. But anyway, uh, there was not far from there was an Italian couple, and this was back early. It had to have been early 50s. I think my dad was in junior high or was a little boy, and I can't remember the names of them. Probably I don't want to say them anyway, but it was an Italian couple, and they kept fighting. They would have these arguments. Well, one day I guess he had it. So his wife was like cooking fried chicken on the stove, and they got into a fight, and he just shot her right there at while she was cooking the fried chicken, and then he killed himself, and nobody knew about it. I guess the chicken burned or something, and there was a fire, or I don't know how people knew, but people went over there, and it was like in that area. It's so peaceful in the area where that whole area there. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to trim this. That you would never think anything crazy like that would happen, but and then I think a year ago, March maybe, a dude, maybe it was this winter, a guy around the town there, his wife filed for divorce, and and the thing is, I think he had land near some of these places I fish. Well, he flipped out, and I don't know, I'm gonna say he shot his wife or tried to. He might have shot her, and she served him the divorce papers, or told him, I think is what it was. And man, he went nuts, and he just lost it. Well, sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out where stuff is here. There we go. This little, gotta get some flash in there. Anyway, he went to jail, but I think she survived. And then the only other really interesting thing is a crop duster's plane crashed, and one of the tires bounced right through the cars on the main drag into one of the little towns there, and it took 2 hops, went right through the bank's front door, shattered the glass. People were in there banking. All of a sudden, this big tire starts banging around in there, and they were thinking, "Oh, it's a hold up. Somebody's using a tire." I don't know what. Everyone was just like, "What happened?" Anyway, so then a couple years before, there were some dudes. There was like a something having to do with meth, and they were chasing these dudes through our little area. There was like the cops had them cornered, and the dudes had like a heavy firepower, like machine guns or something, shot up the patrol car, and then they got into I think they shot the cop, wounded the cop, and then the sheriff's deputies were in the chase, and they went down this gravel road and peeled out and turned, and here came the police car, and they jumped out and started just a whole hail of gunfire lit up his car. I think he got part of his thumb shot off. Just sheer chaos. And there was, so they had a manhunt, and it was kind of in one of the little areas. And the way I hear it is from one of our neighbors is that these dudes were, and it was cold. Was it cold? Was it in the summer? I think it was in, maybe, well, maybe it was May. But these dudes were hiding, and somehow I want to say that they had a. So they ditched their vehicle and they were on foot, but they still had a weapon, and they were hiding in a culvert. And the police had a checkpoint. They had like not a checkpoint. They had it encircled. A perimeter is what I'm trying to say. And with the perimeter, they had guys that were like walking along the roads, like the gravel roads and like the blacktop roads. So you'd have these squad cars stationed, I don't know how far apart, and they were just standing there, keeping their eyes peeled for the dudes in case they made a run for it out of the wherever they were hiding. Well, the dudes in the culvert, one of them told the other guy that he was going to shoot because where they were hiding in the culvert, one of the officers kept walking. His car was parked, but he was kind of like walking back and forth, kind of looking. And he was gonna he had the drop on him with that high powered rifle. He's like, man, I'm just gonna shoot him. We can steal the car. And his friend said, no, because if we do that, you know, we're gonna be in there for life if we kill him. Because so far they'd only wounded. They didn't realize that they almost killed the one. I don't know why he told the other one. He said, don't do it because we'll get into more trouble, I guess, essentially is what he told them. So they just stayed there, and then eventually that guy left, moved down to a different area, and they finally tracked the guys down and got them. But you know, there's not much excitement really around there, but there's some cool spots to do some videos. I already made a couple videos around here and there, but I want to do some live ones. Have a good time doing that. And the thing is, guys, I need to be quicker on the draw with my camera. Oh, I got this. Oh, the hackles in my eyes. I need to be quicker with the camera, not just a GoPro, but like my camera, because I see some cool stuff sometimes when I'm out there fishing. Whether it be eagles or, you know, just wildlife. And then I've seen some pretty odd stuff going down with people too. I remember a couple years ago fishing down there at our little favorite spillway. I'd seen him, hadn't seen him since, but like 2 years in a row. Kind of a slender dude, dark hair with glasses, a nice guy, never had any fishing gear. And he would hike way the heck back. I mean, we're talking mosquito infested areas back in there. And the one time I was with my cousin Graham, we were fishing for Northern, and this dude, he goes strolling right past us, way back into the woods. And I'm like, I've seen this dude go back there before. And you don't ever see him with it, but you hear it. He's back there just shooting up a storm. So I'm thinking, well, there's not really any shooting ranges or anything, so I guess he goes back there to practice. But I mean, the mosquito infest, I mean, it is bad. People that that had been up in Iowa and know what I'm talking about when the mosquitoes start getting bad. I mean, they are just thick with all that humidity back in there. Well, he I hadn't seen him since, but he would go back in there. I don't know what it was, a couple of 9mm. I could never see the guns on him. But he was back there shooting up a storm, and he would never say anything. He'd just be like, "Hey, go right past us, go back in there." And I'm like, "Man, what's going on here?" But the thing is, that happens quite a bit down here in Texas. Like this morning, somebody was shooting up a storm. They were probably plugging hogs or trying to get rid of hogs. There was a ton of gunfire, and I was like, "Oh, great! Hope nothing comes zipping by me." But I'm usually in an area where I don't have to worry about any stray bullets or anything. But so I need to get the GoPro and the camera. I need to be. Well, the thing is, I wouldn't want to take a picture of that guy going back there, but just to like record the sound of like the gunfire. It'd be kind of cool. All right, this one's looking pretty good, man. This is good stuff right here. It's probably like my favorite hole up in peaceful but occasional gunfire. Yeah. Oh, so you hear that too? Yeah, I was fishing up near Gainesville one time, and I thought I was going to be right in the middle of a gunfight. I was, it was like maybe 100 yards. There was like a little boat ramp area. I mean, way out in the middle of nowhere. And this he's got his wife and I want to say two kids, and they were getting the boat ready. And this dude shows up in a truck with his girlfriend, and he just lets his dog out. And you're out way out in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't need a leash. And the dog is, one of these aggressive type dogs. And he the guy with the family, I guess the dog ran over there just to sniff around, and the dude didn't like it because his kids got scared. And the kids, they were trying to get everybody into the boat so they could go, and the dad was like tinkering with something on the boat. He was about to back it in. Anyway, so he said, "Hey, man, get your dog away from my family." And the other dude's like, "He's not gonna hurt nothing." And the other dude's like, "Well, he's scared. He's scaring my kids, and he's not being too friendly." He's like, just ignore him, and he'll be fine. Anyway, the dude was like, "No, I mean, get your dog away from my family, or I'm gonna shoot him." And the dude's like, "You're not gonna shoot my dog. You do that, then I'm gonna shoot you." And I was like, "What?" So I turned around, and of course, I should have hit the GoPro, but I think it was when I was testing the Whopper Plopper for the first time. And these gar were just mesmerized by it. Anyway, so they start jawing back and forth, and then the two women, the wife of the dude with the kids is like, just please, it's scaring my kids. And anyway, they started jawing and kept getting worse and worse. And I was like, man, this can't be good. So I was like, I don't want to be anywhere near this. And were the trail in to get to fish, I would have had to gone right by them. So there was like nowhere I was going to go unless I swam, to get out of there. And I was like, this can't be happening. And they kept jawing back and forth, and the kids started crying, and I was like, oh man, this is just getting worse. And then the dad, he picked up the kids and like put them in the boat. And he's trying to get the boat in the water. He was just about to start backing it in there. And I was thinking, oh man, if he's putting the kids in the boat and he's telling his wife to get in the boat, then maybe he's getting ready to pull something out of his pickup. And he was just trying to get him away from the dog because the dude wouldn't get him. And the girlfriend of the other guy's like, just don't get flustered. He's a nice dog. He was a big dog too, some kind of mangy flea bit. Like a blue tick, I don't know what kind, blue tick hound mixed with a pit bull. It was a mangy looking thing. And I was like, well, I hope he didn't come down here where I'm fishing. There we go. Check that one out. Just a little bit of pink. I hate using pink and stuff, but it's one of those shades that the fish see really well. Anyway, so those dudes calmed down, and I was thinking, man, what I should have done is called like the sheriff's deputy, the sheriff's department, and said, hey man, there's some dudes out here. But then guess what? Then you're all caught up in a situation there, and I don't know. Sometimes you got to do the right thing, I guess. I should have called, but I was just trying to fish, and I was like, please just resolve this so I can fish in peace. And they did. The girlfriend told the dude with the dog, let's just walk over here down this other trail. And so they went away, and the guy got his boat in the water, and that was it. But for a minute there, I was like, oh, I was like, this can't be happening. There we go. That one's actually going to look pretty good there. Well, I think this is going to be the last one, and then I'm not going to do, I can't stand this pink bucktail. I got to get out of this. This one's going to go white. There we go. I'm telling you guys, the stuff that comes off of this, usually when I'm done tying, I got to get the vacuum cleaner in here because this stuff just goes everywhere. Or I can sometimes catch it like this. And the thing is, yep, I got the ceiling fan on. So where's my flash? What's going on here? We're going to use this one. Yeah, I still watch some of these guys that tie lures, you know, that have been doing it for years. And I'm sitting there thinking, if they saw me tying my stuff, they'd be like, what is this dude doing? But you know what? The thing is, I have fun doing it. It's a great way to pass, pass the time or relax when I get home from work. There we go. Yeah, it's the humidity that's got these all puffed up. I can trim this one just a little bit. This one's not going to be too bad. I can do one more. Then we'll talk about some couple other things going on. Baits and things. Guys, I'm telling you, I don't really collect baits, but I have just tons of them. There's so many different brands I want to test out their stuff. So I've got so many videos coming up. The weather's got to cooperate. I want to do like a crankbait challenge where I just have the tray there and they're packed in there and you guys can pick which one, or I'll just go through them all and see which one I can catch fish on. I'm going to do that with jerk baits. I'm going to do it with I've done that with Senkos before. I did one up in Iowa. It was like stick bait challenge, the 6-inch, what is it, Lunker Log, 6-inch, Guggen, maybe that's the Lunker Log. But anyway, the 6-inch Yama Senko. And then I did a challenge this summer again on Senkos at a lake. If you don't know, Senkos are like that big, long sausage, kind of a stick bait. They're usually 4 or 5 inches, but I've got some, one of the challenges I did was on the 6-inch. And they get even bigger than that. I've got some that are like 12 and 10 inches. I need to do a video on that. I got so many videos ready to go. I just need the weather, and I've tried to make some, but what happens is if you get skunked, then like so one of my buddies is like, man, just make the video. If you get skunked, you get stunk. If they're true fans of the channel, they're going to stick with you thick or thin. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Just let them know you're doing you're doing a challenge up front that you may not be successful. I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense too. But anyway, so I've got some of those. Let's think about doing another knife review. Of course, we got the crappie stuff with these. Guys, I'm getting to the point where I may just get rid of all my soft plastics for crappie. And I got some really nice ones from kind of a new guy on the scene, Pine Outdoors. Man, he makes some great ones, but I love using these hair jigs. I call them hair jigs, but you know, they use feathers too. So these I got to put eyeballs on. Then a friend of mine's he sells some tackle. So I may make a bunch without eyeballs and just give them to him so he can sell them. And I may even package them and put a price on there. Tough times, man. Tough times. What do you think I should list these for? 10 but no, not $10. Probably like $1.50 each, or do like a little 2-pack for $1.7. I don't know, $1.75 for one. Maybe do a little 2-pack for $3 or something. Look at that one, came out pretty good. The mange is stick around, Putnam County mange. Coyote mange, woo. Yeah, if you ever come across a coyote that's got mange, be careful, man, because those mites will get on you and they'll just start nibbling away. And I mean, you could treat it, but it's just no fun. That's one good thing about here in Texas and the Panhandle, and now Central, and actually over here in the Dallas area, but in Central, look at that. That was just epic. There's, oh, I'm putting them over here. You don't really have to worry about mange too much in the Amarillo area because it's so dang dry, and there's, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's a real issue. Do one more, guys. This just, I'm gonna roll here. But anyway, sometimes you get those, you know, rabies will come up, but not too much mange over in the Texas Panhandle. I mean, it can happen. If you ever seen a coyote that's got mange, man, they just got that raw spot where they've just been itching and scratching. Depends on when they get it. I've seen them where they're on their stomach and they just scratch that all out. Or if it's like on their back, where they'll just lay on their back and just try to scratch it all out. Sheesh. I think it's highly contagious too. All right, we're gonna snip a little bit here. Well, yeah, here in the other morning when I was going to work, crossing the road, heading to like a little drainage area, I saw a big coyote. He's been eating good somewhere because we got so many rabbits in the neighborhoods here. We got owls that'll come in and dive bomb and get stuff. But these coyotes, man, they're stray cats. They get dogs, little dogs. Man, this one's gonna look good right here. And we have urban bobcats too, which are cool. I don't mind the bobcats, man. They're pretty cool little creatures. All right, where's my silver? There we go. I gotta tell you, there's this. I don't know. I don't know. To this day, I don't know if this dude was telling the truth or not. But You know, you're up in Amarillo, you could just meet all kinds of cool people. Well, I was out in Paladro Canyon, and it was probably March, kind of windy, but it wasn't too hot yet. And I just got done riding my bike, and I went back to the little trailhead area, and I was sitting there drinking water. It was, my little mountain bike. And so I'm sitting there. I can still remember this guy. Him and his wife had traveled in from, I want to say, the Austin area. And they were going to walk down the trail. And I said, yeah, it's a good play, cool thing. He just finished riding it. So he was curious about it. And I said, sometimes you can see the Audads. It's like that kind of like a mountain goat type thing up there, wild turkey. And I said, you can also see, oh, I got these feathers. They're on my glasses now. Anyway, and I said, you can see all kinds of cool stuff. Once in a while, you'll see mountain lion tracks. It was cool because one time I was riding my bike through this little creek bed area, and I stopped. There was a big paw print, and you could tell it was a cat, and then a set of little prints. So there was a mama with her little cub cruising through there. Well, anyway, this guy, I was telling him about that, and that, I've seen some deer. You scare them out of there if you're early in the morning or in the evening. But I also saw a coyote, and so I was telling him about that, and then he was telling me that he came across a coyote when they were out walking a trail at some park down where they live, and the coyote stopped on the trail in front of him. And normally the coyotes are going to, they're going to run when they see people. But he said this coyote just stood there and kept turning his head funny. And I was thinking, oh, well, this probably had rabies. And he said, no. I asked him, I said, did he have rabies or anything? He said, no. He said the coyote was cross-eyed. I was like, what? Cross-eyed? And I was thinking, how can he tell if the coyote's cross-eyed? So he said it was cross-eyed. And I was like, well, I mean, were you close enough to see it? He said, yeah, within 20 yards. Sorry, guys, I got to trim this. And I'm sitting there thinking, how could he tell it was that the coyote was cross-eyed? And he said that they got a picture of it, that he wasn't threatening them. He was just out hunting or doing whatever, and he came across them when they were on the trail. He was kind of a young coyote. He was just trotting along, and they stopped, and then he stopped and looked at them, and he kept turning his head, and he said to his wife, I'll be doggone, that coyote's cross-eyed. And I was like, and he was like being authentic, telling, and then his wife, who was standing there, is like, honest to goodness, that coyote was cross-eyed. And I'm thinking, how does a coyote, the eye, I just, anyway, I can't figure it out. But anyway, so they saw this cross-eyed coyote, and he's all telling me about it. I can't even, come on, a cross-eyed coyote. So, all right, guys, we can squeeze in one more. So then I started asking him questions. I was like, are you sure it wasn't like somebody's pet? And he said, no, it was a coyote. It wasn't very big. And he was just on the trail out hunting, trotting around. And he said he just kind of looked at us, cocked his head, and then Then he made a beeline right back where he was coming out, and he just zipped away. And I was sitting there thinking, man, a cross-eyed coyote, how in the... I would have been nervous. He would have had like rabies or something, was going to start charging. But anyway, that guy was pretty cool. And then he said he'd seen some mountain lions a couple times in other places. I guess because him and his wife are retired and they go to like different state parks and go see different things. This is where I'm getting the feathers from, guys. Thanks again to one of my good buddies and their family. That always good to get some materials. A cross-eyed coyote, you've got to be kidding me. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Does that seem like something true? How does somebody are able to, maybe it was because it was just such an oddity that it was just, you couldn't miss it. I know my cousin and uncle were hunting one time, and my cousin was giving his dad, my uncle, a hard time because he missed a three-legged coyote. That's understandable because where they were hunting by where I used to live in Texas, the wind is just wicked in February and January, and that can happen. But a three-legged coyote, somebody must have been trapping, or he chewed his own leg off. Who knows? But the three-legged coyote, getting away when you got a point blank range, that's tough. Yeah. Anyway, so and I think I even tried to Google some information about cross-eyed coyotes or cross-eyed wild animals. I know possums will get all bug-eyed when you look at them sometimes. But a cross-eyed coyote, what, what, what on earth? All right, man, I cranked out a bunch of these. Yes, I think of some of these I'm going to give to a buddy of mine that he can sell. I'll have to go through and pick the ones that look pretty good. That look pretty good. I was like, man, are you sure you want some of these? Yeah, this one didn't turn out too bad. Just got to trim just a little. It's all it is. It's all it takes. Gotta trim it just a little bit. See, now I'm gonna have that stuck in my head, this cross-eyed coyote. I'm going to be thinking about it, and then guess what? I'm going to try to Google again and look for the story or try to find data on that. How the heck do you get close enough to the... I don't know. Crazy. All right, guys, I got a couple of... I wonder if you weren't here at the start of the live stream. I'm going to recap. I'm telling you guys, you got to keep your eyes peeled at Harbor Freights for these ammo cans. Now, you can, let me get this out of the way. Now, you can use them to store your ammo, but it's perfect for all my fishing gear. I can keep it in here because I travel a lot of times with stuff, and I've got like 6 of these. They were just so cheap. I keep thinking $3.99. Sorry, guys, I got to put this down on the floor down there. I want to keep saying $3.99, but it might have been $5.99 or something. I don't know. All right, let me get the lures back over here. Okay, so in case you missed it, because I know I have some buddies that are going to jump in later that are... Actually, a couple of buddies may want these. Oh, we got one more. Okay, so all of these are lures that I found. So we already know this one is the Cotton Cordell. This, what is it, a pencil popper? This thing is heavy. This one I'm going to try to throw tomorrow. I'm going to do it in a place where I don't get it snagged because I didn't want to find these, put hooks on them, and then get them snagged and lose them. So we got this one. Then this, because what was it, last weekend I found that big wad of stuff, and some of them were too broken. Some of them I had to fix the tails on them. This one I found, this is the one that's with the, I guess Excalibur. It's got that X on there. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. This little dude right here looks like maybe an 80 millimeter. They always name them something 80, 110s, 90s, 100s. But this guy's kind of banged up. I didn't try to patch him up. He's good to go like that. I don't know if I'm going to give him to my buddy or donate him or sell him on eBay. Then I found this one today, or this morning, and it was just all tangled up in the rocks, no hooks. So if you ever wonder, do hooks really rust away and get away? Yes, because there were no hooks. The split rings were fine. You can see them, but the hooks are just gone. They weren't even around where the thing was. Maybe if I would have dug down on the rocks a little more. So I found this one. This one's an H2O. It's got some decent weight to it. It's got the rattles in there, the BBs. So I've got that one. Then this little dude is the one I found just a couple weeks ago, fishing at Caddo State Park, where I thought I hooked into somebody's jug line. I was pulling all this line out, and this was tied up in it, this little dude. That'd be a good little crappie one. Then this guy was one that I had to glue the whole back end on right here. You can kind of see where it bows a little. Oops. Had to, once I got it glued, and I just kept putting layers of glue around there, and then I sanded it down. And then this one had cracks all on the top in here. I filled those. And so I'm not any kind of a... Yep, sometimes you can find them in sales. Yeah. This one is... I'm not any kind of a lure painter, guys, I'm telling you. But I had to do something because it was that kind of like that, all the paint was gone on it. It was just a wreck. So I put just kind of a dark pattern on top, gray midway through, left a little white around the eyes. Any kind of shade changes like that, the fish pick up on. Then there's like a glitter paint on there just for some flash. And I did the little bit of red right here and then orange the rest of the way down. So this one, I got to test it tomorrow. If it takes on water, I don't know. Maybe I'll just hang it somewhere. I put some eyes on there. There, maybe you can see it. Anyway, split rings and put the hooks. Same thing with this one. This one right here is where this one was busted off. Got it re-glued, put layers and layers of glue, then I sanded it down. Got the hooks on here. These are decent hooks. The bill was snapped off, so I just sanded it down. I put like a little, kind of like a little sucker mouth on there. New split rings. Put eyes on this dude. Just a generic two-layer paint job with a little red where the gill would be and just some gray slashes in there. Just the fish aren't going to care really. And then it's like white on the, like just like a speckle pattern on the bottom. So I got to test two of the ones that were busted up for sure. And then the pencil popper, I'd never even heard of those or ever thrown one, so I'm going to throw that. So I'll probably make a video doing that, and then hopefully we'll catch something. I'm going to go to the Buffalo Hole tomorrow. So we got rain today, rain yesterday, so the Buffalo Hole, I don't know what we're going to get there. I'm going to definitely try to catch some crappie, throw some stuff for bass. There's bass in there, gar. I only caught one gar in there, and it was on a bait that was like this big. I was trying to catch crappie, and man, he just hammered it. And actually, it was in February 2 years ago. So we're going to try to, I don't really like catching gar, but I've seen a bunch in there. So maybe I'll catch one, and then for sure, there's bass, there's white bass in there, catfish. And if that stinks, then I'm going to make a haul over to another spot. So the thing is, it's tough going into the state parks also because, like I was saying, I can't believe how many people, well, it kind of makes sense how many people are camping this time of year because it's not so dang hot. But on a Sunday, forget it. You're trying to fish, you get all kinds of racket, people wandering by. Man, that happened, was it like a month ago? I was fishing and there was people from another country, and I'm happy they're here touring, but they were like standing around me, and I had the I had the hat cam on, and I hooked into a fish, and I'm like, do I record with all these people here? So I can't even remember what video it is. I don't know if I talked about it or not, but they didn't say anything because they saw me hit the deal. Sometimes I'll say, GoPro start recording, voice activated, but caught a fish there. But on the weekends, some of these public areas, they fill up kind of quick. So Buffalo Hole, it's a hike to get back in there, and it's kind of near a public area, so don't really have to worry too much about people getting in there. But if not, then I'll just go scope out another place. Anyway, I think that's going to be it, guys. I don't think I have any other news or any other info. Just itching. We're about a month away for the fishing to really pick up around here. Really, it could start in the next 2 weeks, but depends on the rain, if we get another cold spell or what the deal is. But anyway, all right, thanks for hanging out. Hey, until next time, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.